Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Darker Side podcast. This is my first episode. I'm super excited, and I am your host, Shannon Sikora. My podcast is a true crime podcast, mostly dealing with domestic violence, but I might add some other things into there too. And a little backgrounds about me. I have 2 certifications in domestic violence. One is the psychology of domestic violence, and the other one is understanding abusive relationships. I also am working towards my bachelor's degree in psychology, focusing in forensic psychology. And then from there, I plan on getting my master's in psychology, also focusing on forensic psychology. And I am not an expert in any means on these topics. Just still still working towards my education. So yeah. So let's dive into our first case. The first case that I wanted to bring was the Gabby Petito case. I am pretty familiar with this case. This case was widely covered in the media. Sorry, I couldn't find the word. Widely covered in the media, and all social media and news outlets. And this case happened a little over a year ago. And let's get in some backgrounds of who Gabby and Brian were. Gabby was born Gabriella Petito. She was born on March 19th, 1999, to Joseph Petito and Nicole Smith. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right. She was born in Blue Point, Long Island, New York, and she loved yoga, drawing, reading, hiking, traveling. She graduated high school in 2017, and she started dating Brian in 2019. Her parents were not together, and she did have 2 siblings from her dad's side and 1 from her mom's, and she was very close to her siblings. Now, Brian Laundrie was born on November 18th, 1997. They knew each other in high school, and his parents' names were Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie. They knew each other in high school, but they did not date in high school. They started dating, as I said, in 2019, and their first date was sushi on the beach. They also completed a cross-country trip together in 2019. This was from the East Coast to California in a Nissan Sentra. And if you have ever traveled in a Nissan Sentra, you know how small those cars are for traveling. So Gabby wanted to do this trip again, and she wanted to take a transit van, and turn it into a camper. And that's what they did. The first trip happened in 2019, and then this trip was supposed to happen in 2021. And within this time, Gabby and Brian had gotten engaged. They were engaged in July of 2020, and they moved in with Brian's parents in Florida. And at this time, I do believe that both of her parents were in New York. At least neither one of them were living in Florida when Gabby moved there. So she was by herself in Florida with Brian and Brian's family. She did have one best friend, and her only friend in Florida, whose name was Rose Davis. And Rose Davis has been very open about their relationship and the things that she has seen within their relationship when they were living in Florida. And I believe all of this had happened before this trip. It would have had to happen before this trip. But Rose Davis, she said that her and Gabby met on Bumble for friends. Rose had met Brian about the second time they hung out. She said that at first he seemed very charismatic and loving, but there were arguments, and as there's going to be arguments in relationships. She also said that one time in particular, Gabby and her were supposed to go out, and Brian took Gabby's ID so she wouldn't be able to go out. This caused a major fight, and that Gabby came over to her house and was crying, and that she stayed the night there. A good portion of the year, about once a month, it would average out to be, according to Rose, that she would come over there due to arguments that her and Brian would get into. And she said that their relationship kept getting more problematic as it kept going on, and that they were fighting more and more, and everything Gabby did was wrong to Brian. And then as they get closer to this trip coming up in June of 2021, Gabby's dad and stepmom moved to Florida. And then on June 17th, 2021, Brian and Gabby drive the transit van up to New York because her brother had a high school graduation that she wanted to be part of. And as I mentioned, she was very close with her siblings and her family. Now, the official trip started on July 2nd, 2021. And her first post for this trip on her Instagram was July 4th, and that was at the Monuments Rocks, Kansas. And then from July 8th, July 10th, and 11th, she posted from the Colorado Springs, from July 16th to the 18th, from Zion National Park. July 21st to the 22nd was Bryce Canyon, which is in Utah also. From July 26th, it was the Mystic Springs in Utah. July 30th, the Canyonlands National Park. And July 31st, from Mesa Arch Canyonlands. And then there's a 12-day lapse in between her posts. And this could be because she didn't have service. Maybe the Wi-Fi was shoddy, trying to get to coffee shops and things to get onto their Wi-Fi. There could be different reasons why she did not post. But you never want to rule anything out. So then on August 12th, she posts again at the Arches National Park. And from there, at the Arches National Park, I believe that she posted that in the morning. So by the afternoon, I believe that's when they were at the Moonflower Co-op, and there was a domestic dispute reported, and I'm going to try to play you the 911 call.
Grant County Sheriff's Office. Were you able to get a description of the investigation? Hi, can you hear me, sir? Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the Florida license plate, white land, gentleman, about 5'6" deer. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower. Or what were they doing? But what do you say? What were they doing? We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl. He was slapping her? Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off. Okay, you said it's a white van? White van. I give you the license plate. Just give me 1 sec. I took a picture of it. What kind of white van? Like a big one? It was a smaller van with the license plate of, it was white, Florida license.
And the rest of that was just him getting the vehicle information. But yes, they had reported that there was a domestic dispute and that the gentleman was slapping the girl. And this was August 12th at 16:39. And dispatch did alert of the police that were in that area, that in the area of the Moonflower Co-op, that there was a domestic dispute going on. And at that time, then Officer Pratt arrives at the scene of the Moonflower Co-op, and they have another witness that gave more details that spoke to Officer Pratt there. That he didn't call into 911. This is when the officer got to the Moonflower Co-op. There was another witness that talked to him that also saw Brian and Gabby. And Officer Robbins stopped the vehicle as he was behind the vehicle. He saw them cross a double yellow, and then as they crossed back over, Brian, who was driving, hit the curb on the passenger side, and Officer Robbins reports to dispatch that the driver may be intoxicated, but we later find out that this is not the case, and stops the vehicle over. He does ask Gabby to exit the vehicle, separating them, as they had already known that this was the vehicle that they were looking for the domestic dispute that happened at the Moonflower Co-op. And as Gabby gets out of the vehicle, she is hysterical. It is in the report that she just can't stop crying. She is just hysterically crying. Sorry. And let me see if I could play you a little bit of... Let's see. Sorry, bear with me here.
Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject just hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before the gate. You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me?
Yeah, sure.
No, park?
Oh, it isn't park yet.
Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, all right? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got the stuff, flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving, I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here? SO229. I have the female that was in the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and
Okay.
I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just like, I guess my vibe is like I hear him be like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an all-organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there. I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because
told
of
me
your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time, and he really stresses me out, and this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat.
As to why Brian should have been upset with her. And she even said that she wasn't mean, but she...
Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject just hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before the gate. You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
No, park?
Oh, it isn't park yet.
Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, alright? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got out the flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here? SO229. I have the female that was in the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just like, I guess my vibe is like I hear him be like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an all-organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a lot of stuff. So I've been building my website, so I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it, so that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there. I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. And he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat.
She might have had a mean tone, and that just hints that she might have to walk around on eggshells with Brian if he's gonna get mad that that she's maybe just snapped. And she was working on her blog and her YouTube channel, and those are frustrating in itself. And it's very frustrating when you have a partner who does not want you to succeed in something, and trying to do it without their support is going to be really, really hard. And as this goes on a little bit, we will see how Brian even kind of demeans her with her blog, her YouTube. He calls it...
I'm not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her, so like I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything, so I give her time, and we really had a nice morning, if anything, but she just got worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches before the Sunday time.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand, that's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not, go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute because she was getting really worked up. And then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys from me, so I got in the way. I was just trying to, I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the...
No, I
take over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of like, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her grabbing the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So,
yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up. So we're just grabbing water before the hike. Okay. And I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because they're planning still to go for a hike, but then she grabbed me. I'm really sorry about that.
Of course. Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
And if I was speeding, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You don't have anything in that pocket or anything like that, do you?
Nope.
Just the wallet? All right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check the waistband? Turn around for me real quick. Perfect.
Nothing.
I just want to make sure. That's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor, take a seat, all right? Oh, do you have your ID on you?
In the car. Do you want to come with me?
No, we'll just do.
To hear him talk about Gabby's YouTube blog, and she wants to travel across the country and blog it and show other people, and he just belittles it. Like, oh, it's just like this little thing that she's doing, but she quit her job to do this, and you're going along with it, but you're not gonna support it and then belittle her about it. And then also he blames Gabby for the reason he went into the curb, as she pulled the steering wheel. And later in the video, you can see that Gabby says she didn't pull the steering wheel. So that should be one thing that the cop should have questioned, as, okay, if he's lying about this, like, and he's perfectly calm. There's nothing wrong, and she's hysterical. And the way that he is acting towards the police is like almost trying to get them on a friends basis, like kind of be buddy. And this is typical, just narcissistic behavior. He's just, everything that happened was either because of Gabby, and he said he shoved her to get away from her. And I don't believe that that's true. And another thing too, he kept saying that he was locking up the car to have her go take a walk. But she is a 22-year-old woman. Why do you have to tell her to go take a walk to calm down if she doesn't want to calm down in that way? She wants to stay in the van. She's not a child, and I feel like Brian was treating her like a child. And he was literally not letting her into her own van. It wasn't even Brian's van. And the cops didn't even ask whose van it was. They didn't ask for registration. They didn't ask for any of that. I know that they did ask for their licenses to do background, but they didn't ask. They just assumed that it was Brian's van. But in reality, it was actually Gabby's van. But they were both living there, which made them cohabitants, which made this a domestic dispute. But he should not have been locking Gabby out of her van where she lives. That is not okay. And let's see if we can. Another thing that was kind of frustrating is they pointed out Brian's injuries right away. But Gabby, if you can see, and I'll try to put the video in my YouTube, you can see she's got a bruise on her arm, and she also tells the police that Brian grabbed her face. And to me, that is a control move. But every time she would say, "Oh, Brian grabbed my face," but I hit him first, she would recant what she says and be like, "Well, I did this first," taking blame. And that is what victims do. They put blame on themselves for what the abuser is doing, or giving reasons as to why the abuser did that. So I'm gonna play, it might be a little bit hard to hear her telling the officers how she hit Brian first.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
My name's Eric. I'm with Moab Police. What's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you?
I'm 22.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm just having a very stressed morning.
Yeah? Is this your husband or boyfriend?
My fiance.
Fiance? Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
Well, I was just really stressed this morning trying to get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing to him. I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back, and all our bags were back there, and I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out because I have OCD, and I was just like organizing stuff, and sometimes I just have a mean attitude, but I'm not trying to be mean about straightening things up and stuff, so I was just apologizing, but I guess I said it in like a mean tone, and he got really frustrated with me, and he locked me out of the car and told me to go take a breather, but I didn't want to take a breather, because I wanted to get going. We're out of water.
So it kind of made you more upset.
Yeah,
it didn't help calm you, it made you more upset.
Yeah. And,
so then what happened?
And, so our goal was to come here and come refill our water.
Are you guys living out of the van right now? On travels?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just really.
So what happened after he locked you out? I told you to take a breather.
Well, he walked away to go take his own breather, but I wanted to sit in the car because all my stuff was in the car. I had none of my bag. I was working on something at the moment in the car, and he told me to just relax for a second, and I didn't want to relax, so I got really mad. And, I mean, I don't need to be mad.
Yeah, it happens. Then what happened?
And then I told him to drive and get water because I was really thirsty.
Yeah? Is there something on your cheek here? Looks like, did you get hit in the face? Kind of looks like something like hit you in the face.
I don't know.
And then over on your arm, shoulder, right here. That's new, huh? It's kind of a new mark.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Can I see the other side of your face? So, what happened here and here?
I'm not sure. It was really fast. I was just trying to get in the back of the car, and his backpack was on the back, and it got me.
So the backpack got you? So there's two people that came to us and told us that they saw him hit you. There's two people saying that they saw him punch you. We're just independent witnesses by Moonflower.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him in the face.
You slapped him first? And then just on his face?
And he kept telling me to shut up.
How many times did you slap him?
Romeo, India, Alpha.
Just a couple.
And then what? And then his reaction was to do what?
Grabbed my arm so I wouldn't slap him.
He just grabbed you?
Yeah.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, and then I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be
Well,
honest.
he grabbed my face, just like, I guess. He didn't hit me in the face, like, he didn't punch me in the face or anything.
Did he slap your face or what?
Well, he grabbed me with his nail, and I guess that's why it looks. I definitely have a cut right here because I can feel it.
Yeah.
When I touch it, it burns. But
Okay. So has he been drinking?
no, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb.
I hit him.
While you were driving?
Well, he was driving.
While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Well, not a lot, but yeah.
And that was distracting him while he's driving? Are you
Not only for like a second, only because I saw the lights come on, and I kind of went like this.
Did you already tell him all this?
I didn't get that far into
Okay,
it.
so
She was hyperventilating.
She's
a
saying
little
that
bit.
they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
We don't drink or anything.
She started hitting him.
I was yelling at him, and then when you turned your lights on, I kind of punched him. I'm like, there's an idiot.
she's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I'm really bad. Name was Gabby?
Yeah.
Okay. You okay, Gabby?
Okay, so now I'm going to try to play the clip from where they ask her about the steering wheel. Now, we already have Brian's side of the story. Brian said that Gabby grabbed the steering wheel while he was driving. And then this is what Gabby said as to why they hit the curb.
Steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the steering
wheel. I didn't touch the steering wheel, but only for like a second, because I just saw the lights come on, and it was more just like, you're an idiot. Like, you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and
No.
swerve or anything like that?
No. I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
I'm going to go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here, or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
before we get into what the second officer that came on the scene, I believe that was Officer Pratt, what he asked Brian, you just heard Gabby ask for water. She said that she was extremely thirsty, and that when she wanted to leave the Moonflower Co-op, it was because she was really thirsty and wanted to refill their water bottles. Now, Brian would not leave. He locked the car, and said that she needed to go take a walk. Why was she so thirsty? They were at the Moonflower Co-op. I have personally never been there, but I did look at pictures. It's like an organic grocery store, and they didn't have water. And it's like they didn't have water there. Like, she couldn't go in and get water. Was Brian controlling the money, or was he controlling the fact that he doesn't use plastic bottles and she's not allowed to use plastic bottles? Maybe they only had water that were in plastic bottles at the grocery store. I don't know. This is all speculation. This is all assuming too. I'm just going off of what is on the footage that I'm sharing with you right now. And this is where you will hear Brian tell the officer that he doesn't want water because he does not like drinking out of plastic bottles.
And she's got some marks on her too. We're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told your story. This officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And yeah, okay, then you tell him what happened.
So,
if you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
Start at the beginning. Well, I don't want to go too far back, but we've been in BLM land for the past week or so, traveling around, and the flies here are pretty intense. So the flies have definitely been getting to her, and then my feet are dirty and everything. So I think that our little squabble started because we were hanging out at the coffee shop, and when we got back to the van, there was some dirt and stuff in the van, and I moved our food around. It was a little disorganized, so she gets a little.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Do you need any water?
It's okay.
It's hot out here.
We were going to get water because we ran out, but it's okay. No, it's alright. I don't like plastic bottles. Okay. Thank you, though. But we just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, no, it's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. As long as it's cold, that's good.
So it was just more of a disagreement, and I just wanted to.
What was the disagreement about?
It was. I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty and I can't change being dirty. Like, I got dirty feet, I got sand on my flip flops and stuff like that. It was that we were at the coffee shop for so long because we were there from 9 to 3. So there's a few little things, little relationships. I don't know if you're in a relationship, but I'm sure you're.
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah, I can go.
And
I get it.
We weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way in the block. You know, there's that what is it called, Moonflower?
Right.
Yeah. Nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breathe and come back. Because we're happy with it. I'm not upset with her. She got a little worked up and she had a phone in her hand and her keys and everything. And she wanted, not her keys, like her rings. She had her rings, her phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off without me with a car. I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me. So I was just going, just wait, back up, and that's when she hit me. And I didn't get. I don't want to push you, but I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and like that's probably everyone's attention where I was going, back up, get away, just give me a.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
The phone. So you pushed her and she hit you?
It wasn't like a push and she jumped on me. She was already. I don't want to. She was already swinging and I was.
Multiple.
A lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings.
Yeah, you got. Yeah. scratches in your neck. You've got one on the left side of your nose. You've got one in your face here, and you've got 4 bleeding over it. So it looks like 2 hands coming in. Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
It's a little bit of nails. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about it.
So again, he takes no responsibility for anything that he did. And another thing that was interesting, and I believe the police did say something about it in the police report. I have not read the police report, but I have read there was an investigation done by an outside of the police station, the district, I guess. Outside of there, someone did come in and do an investigation on the Moab police from this incident that happened. And I did read the combined statements and investigation report that was submitted after the whole investigation was done. And the police did note that if you heard the clip I just played for you, Brian says that he needed to take Gabby's phone because he doesn't have a phone, and if she were going to leave him there and just drive away, then he would have nothing. But later, when the police ask for his phone number, he pulls out a phone, and he's on Instagram. So I highly doubt that he did not have a phone. And again, then there was speculation too that the phone that he pulled out was Gabby's, but it was not Gabby's because Gabby was in the back of a police car with her phone in her lap. And at one point she was even calling her mom. So then at the end of this, they're trying to figure out who was the primary aggressor, which they deemed it to be Gabby because she admitted that she slapped him and he said that he slapped her. They totally took the 911 calls, they totally ignored, even though they said that they saw a man slapping a woman and she had marks on her face where they said that he had slapped her, but she wouldn't say it, and if she did, she recanted it and would say, oh, well, I hit him first, which would make her the primary aggressor. Okay, so this next clip I'm going to play is what they decide going with the Utah law. It's not the final decision, but this is what they are saying once they had talked to the one witness who said that they did not. This is the witness. This is not a 911 caller. This was the witness that came up to Officer Pratt when he was at the Moonflower and explained to him what he saw. He saw the officer, when he saw the officer at Moonflower, he went up to explain, and let me get it pulled up here. So then they called him to, when Officer Pratt called the witness via cell phone, also provided a sworn written statement later on. And this is from the combined statement and interrogation report. And he had observed Brian and Gabby involved in a dispute, stating from what he could tell, it appears at one point they may have been fighting over a phone, which was Gabby's phone because Brian was trying to take it away. But the witness did not know that. And this witness thought it may have been Gabby's phone. He also reported Brian was trying to keep Gabby from getting into the van. He also said Brian was sitting in the driver's seat while Gabby was trying to get into the van through the driver's side door. He said he saw Gabby hit Brian a few times in the arm and or face, he couldn't tell, and while trying to get into the vehicle. He also said Gabby, his name is redacted, so that's why I'm saying he, because I do not know his name. said Gabby forced her way over Brian's lap via the driver's side door and got into the passenger seat. He heard Gabby tell Brian, "Why do you have to be so mean?" stating he wasn't sure if it was play fighting, stating Gabby's punches were nothing like slugs to the face, but felt there was something off and he had a weird vibe. The witness also stated he wasn't sure how serious the incident was, but to him it seemed like Brian was trying to leave Gabby and possibly take her cell phone. So right there, if the witness is saying that he thought that Brian was trying to leave Gabby, but Brian was the one who was like, "Oh, well, if she leaves me, I'm not going to have a phone," but he's trying to leave her at Moonflower without a cell phone, and clearly he has a cell phone because he pulled it out to give the officer his number so that if the officer needed to contact him. And then Gabby says, when they're being separated, Gabby says to make sure that Brian has his cell phone charger with him. So going on with the witness statement, Officer Pratt asked if the witness ever saw Brian strike Gabby. The witness hesitated in his answer and said he maybe saw a push or a shove, but nothing like a full-on punch to the face or anything. Officer Pratt asked if the witness could tell if the push or shove was an aggressive action or a defensive maneuver. The witness wasn't sure, stating it was a good question and wasn't entirely sure what exactly was going on. The witness also said it appeared to him that Brian was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. The witness said Brian put a backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. The witness also said Brian was stepping into the vehicle and Gabby was trying to get in. The witness said he didn't see anything that was Brian kicking Gabby or hitting Gabby, further stating the fighting was kind of light and they were laughing. So again, because the witness did not specifically say he saw Brian hit Gabby, although they do have 911 call that I played for you earlier, Gabby is then reported as the primary aggressor. And then Officer Robbins is the investigating officer in the case and was assisted by Officer Pratt. It was my understanding and assumption through which the body-worn camera video that Officer Pratt is more experienced than Officer Robbins. Officer Pratt also talked to his supervisor because Gabby was extremely upset, and I will play a little bit of the clip when Gabby and Brian are being told that they need to separate for the night. And another thing too that is very upsetting is they're talking about the letter of the law, which they go in and explain why they have this law as to they don't trust police officers to make decisions about domestic violence because the woman that's being abused usually wants to go. This is the officers explaining that, saying the woman that's usually abused wants to go back to her abuser and wants him to stop. And that's exactly what Gabby wants. She doesn't want to be separated. She has really bad anxiety being separated from Brian. And it's just crazy that because they can't claim ignorance, that they didn't know that. It really is frustrating, and I'll play the clip. This is them explaining to Brian about the letter of the law and what they can and cannot do.
Some things, like for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under Class A, it's a Class B or under. If If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can. But there's a few things I can't. When I say I, police, I'm not in charge of it. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to a domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners. And you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor and that she was striking you and that you received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her, she has not admitted to you striking her, the witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault that even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we can do to not, the law says we have to charge her, doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate through a no contact order, and we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here is you guys are out of Florida living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now I don't want to take this small 20, what is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old
blonde
hair, blue-eyed
that you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We got to treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she could not go to jail and be separated, you have friends in town, somewhere she could stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You
Can I go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow,
I'm going to take your radio.
if you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so office is closed, you can go to the police department and fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order so you guys can still be together. But she's going to have a court date online in a week or two. She's going to have to show up for a court date online and answer.
So that's basically what they were going to do first. They were going to cite Gabby for domestic violence, and they were trying to make it so Gabby could have the van and Brian would be put up in a hotel by a program for domestic violence. I believe it's called Safe Haven, but I am not 100% sure. And then she would have an online court date and possibly get the charges dropped. However, Officer Pratt decides that he wants to call his supervisor on this to see if there was anything we could do, they could do, to see if they could go and not charge her with domestic violence, because that would go on her record and just be really hard for her. So when he talks to his supervisor, let me see if I can pull up that clip. When he talks to his supervisor, he's basically saying that, you know, the letter of the law is being lost, or the spirit of the law, I'm sorry. The spirit of the law is being lost on this one.
Hey, so a tiny little girl, 22 years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his chin, on his jaw. They got into a van and drove off. He got called in by there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped. The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male. She was pissed off, she's having a rough day, he tries to separate from her, she's not staying away from him, she has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van, says you need to go for a walk and cool off. She's forcing her way into the van, she's clawing her way past him into the van to be with him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her, or he's not assailing her, he's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything. She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written in the code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting Sea Haven see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling with the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute. I just said the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor. It was like a slap fight, and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get some trouble if we don't do it this way. Well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is just statute and that we have to separate you. As far as the domestic assault charge, what do you think about that? Well, I mean, do the whole thing or not? But is there a way to not do anything on something like this? I mean, it's so minor. It's hard to say, right? I'm going to go reread the statute and just see if it fits or if there's a way it doesn't fit. And if I can find a way that, because it really is this. The spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is. So let me see what I can find, and if nothing else, then we'll have to separate him whether she likes it or not. Alright, thanks. Alright, bye. Thanks. Bye. Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition. So let's see. He's not ill. He doesn't have an impairment of physical condition. And if he's not in pain. Like okay. How far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there. It's there to protect people, especially, the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser, they just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated, they don't want him charged, they don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed. Mm-hmm. In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
Right.
But then again, I don't have a crystal ball. So I was looking at I talked to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full.
So basically what you just heard is he's explaining why they have this law. And he says that he does not perceive Brian to become a battered man. I'm probably misquoting that. However, he doesn't have a crystal ball. But what about Gabby? She's got bruises on her. She's got cuts. She's hurt too. He hurt her. And the only thing that they're worried about is these scratches on Brian's face. And so let's continue that. And
Set it up right. Set it up just right.
That's how people laugh someone heard that way.
Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you.
Okay.
Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
No.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
Can't say that I did very legally. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. He said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to get the curve. She said that she grabbed her. I might have this to myself probably.
No, she said that too, that she started just distracting him by hitting him, and that he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. And she said it's her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision.
Let's do this.
I support you either way.
Basically, from there, they separate Brian and Gabby for the night. Officer Robinson drives Brian to the hotel, and Gabby has the van. And I believe that's it. I do not think that she had any court date or anything for that. So then from there, that was on the 12th. On the 17th, Brian flies home. He flies home from Salt Lake City to get some personal things, and to close out a storage unit so that way they can extend their trip. On the 21st was the day that Gabby last FaceTimed with her dad. Her dad said that he did not see any red flags in this FaceTime. And then on the 23rd was when Brian returned to Salt Lake City. And then on the 25th, Gabby's last phone call conversation with her mother happened on that day. And then also, I do want to note, I know this is going back a little bit, on the 19th and the 25th, those were the two last posts that Gabby had put up on Instagram, and there was no location tagged. She, I believe that this was something that she did to let her friends and family know her location, and also for other people to know where these pictures were taken. And the pictures seem a little off. People are saying the ones from the 19th, they don't look like Salt Lake City or anywhere where they would really be going. And then it looks like the beach. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to put that picture up there for you. And also on August 19th, she posted her first and ever YouTube video on their YouTube site, Nomadic Static. And that was kind of her last social media posts that we have. So also on the 27th, Brian and Gabby were seen at the Mary Piglet's Mexican Grill. This is in Jackson, Wyoming. And there was a incident there. There was, her name is Nina Angelo, and she and her boyfriend witnessed, she calls it a full-blown incident. I guess they were fighting over the bill, and Brian walked in and walked out. She didn't know if they were getting kicked out. They were talking to the waitress and the hostess, and then he came back several times to talk to the manager. And then Gabby came in. Nina said that Gabby was outside and she was hysterically crying. And she came in, and Nina said it sounded like she was apologizing for Brian's behavior. The manager said that it was not as bad as this. I was not there, obviously. I can't tell you, but that's just what's being reported. So I do not know why the police weren't called, but it just seemed like Brian was very angry at this moment. And then also, I believe on the 27th, they were spotted at a Whole Foods, and this was the last time that Gabby was ever seen on camera. And there's nothing really out of the ordinary in the video, except when they first pull in and you see Brian getting out of the car, he slams the car door so hard, his whole body turns. And Gabby does not get out of the car for several moments after this. And they kind of walk in, but they're not really holding hands or anything like that. They're kind of just walking side by side. And she's kind of covering herself with the bags, but they only bought 2 items. And it was just, it's not, like, there's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's kind of strange for a couple that is so in love, according to their Instagram. Just doesn't seem like it, to me at least, in the video. And the fact that Brian seems very angry when they first got to that Whole Foods makes it a little weird. So that all happened on the 27th. And then on the 29th, this came out later after we knew that Brian had returned. This TikToker named Miranda Baker and her boyfriend saw Brian hitchhiking by the Grand Tetons at 5:30 at night. He was trying to get a ride to go to Jackson, but he was confused because when he asked to go to Jackson, and I guess they were going to Jackson Hole, but it's also, they call that Jackson also. So so when he found out that they were going in the opposite direction, he started freaking out, saying he needs to get out of the car. So when they dropped them off, when they dropped Brian off, he then hitchhiked with Norma Jean Jelovic, and she picked up Brian, and he asked to go to the Spread Creek area in the Grand Teton National Park. And she said that she would be okay with driving him up to his campsite, because I guess it's like a 2-mile long trail. And he insisted no, just for her to drive to drop him off in front of the area, because he would just hike up to his campsite. So my guess is that he didn't want her to go up there because he did not want her to find Gabby. So and then on August 30th, Petito's mom, or Gabby's mom, said she got the final text. And this one was really weird, because this one it said that there was no service in Yosemite, which there was no way that they would be in Yosemite at this point. And so in August 30th to September 1st is when Brian used Gabby's debit card to come home. And on September 1st, Brian returns home to Florida without Gabby. Of course, so Brian's parents know that he's home, obviously. He has Gabby's van, but Gabby's parents do not know that she is not home. And they have been reaching out once they found out that, what they first thought that Gabby and Brian were both missing because no one can get a hold of them. They were reaching out to Brian's parents, and then I believe it was September 11th was when Gabby's mom put a police report. They started reporting her missing. And then that was when they found out that Brian was home, because they went to the laundry's house, and they would not answer any questions. They just told the police to talk to his lawyer. And then on September 13th is when Brian leaves home. That was reported by his parents. He was supposed to be hiking in the Carlton Reserve, and he did not have it's reported that he did not take a cell phone with him, although we do know that he had just gotten a new one. And everyone's searching for Gabby. They have no idea where she is at this point, and now they are searching for Brian as well. They're searching for Gabby over in Wyoming, and they are searching for Brian here in Florida in the Carlton Reserves. And when they started searching and they were asking anybody to who had information, who was in these areas that Gabby was in, to go through pictures to try to find her, because Brian's parents weren't talking. No one could find Brian. And there was a YouTuber, it's a family, the Bethune family. They were in the same area. They were also from Florida. And they were in the same area, and they had just got done filming that day. And on the 27th, they had just got done filming. They had their GoPro on, which they said that they never leave on, but at this particular day, they must have forgotten to turn it off. And as they're driving, they found Gabby's van on their GoPro, and it was parked on the side of the road. And if you look at the van closely, it looks like it's abandoned. And there is a sandal on the ground that looks just like Gabby's from the police footage. And there's also, as the Bethunes approached the van, the back of the door started closing, and because they were going to get out and say something and, talk to them, because they were both from Florida and not very, I think that's kind of unique to find someone from your state that far away from your state. So, but they decided not to, because they had closed up and it looked like the van was abandoned. They were probably hiking or something, and so they continued to drive on. But this tip was very big, because once they got this tip, it was not very far from this place where the Bethunes saw the van on their GoPros. They found the body of Gabby Petito, and that was on September 19th. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, so on September 19th. And at that point, police tape off Laundrie's home on the 20th, and the Laundries, and on the 21st, the Laundries is still continued at the Laundrie home. And also on the 21st is when Gabby Petito was identified. And they put out a federal arrest warrant for Brian on the 23rd. And this was not for Gabby's death. This was for using her debit cards. This is for fraud, basically, using her debit cards. So now the search for Brian has turned into a manhunt, and this is happening at the Carlton Reserve here in Florida at that time. And at that time in like September, August, I mean, as you get into September, it's still pretty rainy. August is really rainy, at least in the part of Florida where I am from. So these places are crawling with alligators and snakes and poisonous things. So the idea of being out there for very long but again, Brian is a avid survivalist, so maybe he could have survived out there for a while. But with the alligators and stuff, I don't think he could have survived out there for very long. Sorry, I lost my place. So then like I said, the federal arrest warrant, he was a person of interest in Gabby's Petito's death, but he was still not there wasn't a warrant out for his arrest for her murder. And he was not a suspect, he was just a person of interest. So there's actually many different things. The dog, the bounty hunter, did join the search. And then on the 25th, the FBI visits the Laundrie home. And then on the 26th, the Laundrie search, they scale back. They've searched a lot. Most of the from my understanding, the rest of the areas that they hadn't really searched were still submerged underwater. And then on the 29th, the FBI obtains Brian's phone and surveillance video. And also, and then on the 30th, they check the campers. Okay, so before I get into any more of the of Brian's timeline, I want to go back to, we know that they found Gabby's remains, and that when the autopsy report came out, it was done by Dr. Brent Blue, that he had said the cause of death was blunt force injuries to the head and neck with manual strangulation. And with manual strangulation, this could not have been any type of accident. That is a very deliberate way to kill somebody. So he also said that from what they can tell from her remains and decomposition, she had been murdered 3 to 4 weeks before discovery on September 19th. So that would put the timeline back. She had the last conversation that she had was about 3 weeks before her body was discovered, and I believe that was with her mom. So when Brian's remains were found, they were found on October 20th, after that water I had talked about earlier had receded from the area and the park was reopened. His parents had gone back. I believe they went on October 7th, and then they went back on October 20th, and they located items that were deemed to belong to Brian. And then upon further search of the area, investigators found human remains later confirmed to be Brian's, along with a backpack, a notebook, and a revolver. It appears that Brian had committed suicide. And in his notebook, he had taken responsibility for killing Gabby. Now, the way he says it in his notebook might not be the way that it actually happened. Brian says that Gabby got hurt. I have read the notes. They are very hard to read, especially the first page of the notes, but basically it was a mercy killing, and that Gabby had fallen and hurt herself, and that she had hit her head, and he didn't know how bad the injuries were, and that that she asked him to put out her misery, and basically he thought that it was what she wanted. But I have watched many experts go over this, and many people that have actually been there. There was one expert in particular that had been there to this area where Gabby's body was found. And they said that the body was found 10 minutes. It would have been a 10-minute walk from the van. There was definitely service in this area. So why didn't Brian try to get help? Why would you let your fiance, someone who you supposedly loved, just lie there and not try to help her? Because she kept saying, I don't want to be left alone, according to Brian. But if you know that she needs help, medical help, and you have a way to get it, why would you choose killing her over getting her help in some way, shape, or form? He said in his notes, he writes it as he's talking to Gabby at first, and then he changes the audience to the reader. Obviously, Gabby can't read his message. He knows that Gabby can't read it, but he changes so this way he won't look as... The way he's writing, it's like he's trying to manipulate the reader into thinking that he didn't do this, and it was a mercy killing, and it was something that she wanted to end her pain. And he's still trying to somehow get away with it. He's trying to make it sound like it's not as bad, like, oh, I didn't just, which a lot of experts think he did. He just got really angry. You could see in the videos of the first couple days leading up to her murder, his anger. You could see it in his posts on Facebook. Not on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm sorry. On Instagram, you can see the anger that's developing. And an interesting thing that I found out while watching these things is, by watching these videos to do the research, is Gabby's mom reported that to the FBI or the investigators that Gabby and Brian were no longer engaged. But then on the 12th, they told the police that they were engaged. So I'm not sure when that decision happened, but the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is when the victim tries to leave. And if Gabby was having second thoughts in being with Brian, who we've seen the pattern of the controlling, of the anger, of just him wanting Gabby all to himself and not wanting her to have any friends, not wanting her to go out and taking her ID, not wanting her friends to know where she is. These controlling behaviors could have ramped up on the 12th, And especially if he was mad that she was doing a blog, because it sounded like with that whole thing, he wanted to stay under the radar. He didn't want to do the blog. He didn't want the life that she wanted. And it sounded like they both wanted different things. And if she wanted to end things with him, that could have been, and that's totally speculation. I'm just going off of the fact that I did hear from a source that Gabby's mom, Nicole, said that she wanted, that they weren't engaged anymore because Gabby thought that she was too young to get married. If Gabby was having these feelings, this could have been why Brian snapped. I mean, if you've done your research and you've looked at the letters, then leave me in the comments and tell me what you think. If you believe the letters that Brian is saying, or if you believe that he just snapped. But I don't think there's any good way to end this case, except I did want to bring up, out of all of this, Gabby's parents have started the Gabby Petito Foundation. It's a wonderful foundation. I'll link it in the below. It basically, I believe Gabby's dad said that no parent should have to find their child on their own, and has been really trying to get the media and everybody to step up. And if you are in a situation, an abusive situation, or a situation like Gabby's, reach out to them. If they can't help you, they will get you in touch with someone that can help you. And so that was something that was really good that came out of this. And my heart just goes out for Gabby's parents and her family. And they're just such strong people to be able to create this foundation in their daughter's name, keep this legacy going, her legacy, in the darkest time of their life. That was just really, really amazing. They created this while all this was going on, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. And but yes, so if you liked my episode, please subscribe, follow me. Again, I'm on Apple Podcasts, I'm on Spotify, and I am on YouTube. So my YouTube videos will be put up every Monday after I post on Friday to Apple and Spotify. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment, leave me a review, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.